Ahead is by far the most packed episode to date, culminating with Ned, New Engine Day, here on Ryan Flies. 5 days. 5 days until the engine arrives. And the place is a mess. And I'm not going to clean it right now. I'm going to see if I can get some more work done on the wings. I'm loving the fact that I don't have to worry about riveting on the bottom skins or installing the autopilot servo. When I get the fuselage out to my future hangar, I will be able to march right through fairly quickly to like final assembly, and that excites the heck out of me. So again, in the spirit of knocking tasks down, I have one that I know I am absolutely going to dread if I procrastinate on it, so we're going to get some aileron stops in. Now, as I cruise through this, if you were thinking to yourself, wow, he is like cool, calm, collected, swift, moving through this as if he's done it before. Come on. Balls. Oh, come on. I already did that wing. I had like 0% faith that I could pull this off. Now the good news is I did, but I did it off camera because I just didn't want to fail in front of y'all. Knowing what I know now, I'm gonna show how I approach the aileron stops because it differs from plan. According to Vans, the aileron control stop is this little chunk of a piece of angle that you cut up to some specific dimensions, and somehow you rivet it to the aileron hinge brace, and it prevents the over movement of the aileron. And I don't really know exactly how it fits in here. I haven't bothered to do enough research, to be honest. Actually, now that I look at this, I think I figured out it is pretty easy. It prevents the hinge, essentially, the part that's attached to the aileron, from rotating by adding a block that's attached to the hinge brace. However, to get in there and rivet this to that location, I would need to remove the aileron from the hinge and the flap, and you have to use some larger rivets. It would be a total pain in the butt. Most of the blogs that I researched to figure out just exactly how they use these things didn't use them at all. What I found really common was to use a piece of plastic machined to go over a pre-existing spacer that will act as a bumper against that same hinge brace, but a much more succinct and clean design to prevent over movement of the aileron. Now, it's not only a little tight in here, it's a little tight back here. Which makes all of this a little bit harder. But it's one of the reasons why this approach seemed cool to me. If I could get this spacer in and out fairly easily, then this is a really simple way to approach what is sort of a building chore. Now again, some people have had to sort of trial and error this, but I have a feeling that I can take some dimensions from those that have done it before me, and it's going to work out just right. Jerk. Alright, so I have removed this spacer, and unfortunately a couple washers too that I was trying to leave on this bolt, but we'll get to that in a moment. This spacer is what we essentially want to wrap with some highly durable plastic to build it up, and then that will come crashing down into this brace, and this brace, where it meets this spacer, will stop it at a predefined moment. How do we know where that is? Well, again, luckily, some smarter people have done this before me, and it turns out that after inserting this into the proper sized hole, they machined it down to exactly 1/2 inch. Now I went out and I simply got some 1/2 inch rods so that I don't have to machine the outside. All I have to do is place a well-placed hole right in the middle that I can squish this into, and we're off and running. Now the question is, does it work? And it should. I have the aileron here blocked in trail. This is what I set up a long time ago when I made the wings and set up all the flaps and all the linkage to ensure that the aileron is in a neutral position. If we zero that out, we should see at most 32 degrees of upward travel. Now, we're fully rested on the stop and we see exactly 30. That is excellent. The other aileron was just slightly above 30, so that means they're both hitting their stops at about the same point. Couldn't be more excited about that. We do also want to test the downward travel, but we can't really right now because the downward travel is actually set by the upward travel of the opposite aileron when everything is connected together. So we will worry about that when the wings are on. As for now, this chore is out of my way. We've got both aileron stops set up. I'm very happy it's not hanging over my head. Let's see what else we can chip away at before these wings go bye-bye. All right, so last time we were deep in conversation about the Deutsch connectors, and I'm told that that is how you say it, even though last time I said it like that, I was told it was Dutch. So I don't really know. I guess just pick one. But we were so busy talking, I never got around to doing. And I would like to now add the DTP connector for my pitot. And about that, there's rumor afoot. The P stands for power, not plarge. That all sounds a little overly convenient for me, but if you care to know, that is what some people think. Also on the internet is some more productive conversation about the size. Now, a lot of people feel that you can get away with a standard DT connector here. In fact, some folks have gone as far as to do some current testing, and that has all been great. And I tend to agree with those folks. I think the DTP might be a little overkill. I think there's plenty of margin in a regular DT connector based on what we saw on current tests. However, I have the I have the DTP connector in hand, and if nothing else, it'll prevent me from accidentally plugging it into some other Deutsch connectors I have over there. It'll keep everything unique as far as the connectors go, so that it's really simple if I were to ever need to remove a wing to know when reinstalling what goes where. Again, mixed with the fact that I have them and I just want to use them, we're going to go with the DTP in this instance. I'm going to go ahead and cut myself off a little bit of this. I don't need all that I have, but I do want to leave a little bit of service loop, and then we'll get this thing installed. Yeah. All right, I got one other connector here for outside air temperature. The last consideration I'll need to make is for this one guy, and this is for my fuel sender. Four days. 4 days until engine.
I assume we're just going to Twin Oaks, right?
Yeah, straight to Twin Oaks. We'll try to keep the speed slow, but then what I don't want to do is wind up with a line of cars that's pissed off and start trying to pass.
Oh, yeah.
And so
waking up under all this rust. It's raining in my room. The water falls in pools until I'm getting carried away, riding on the back of a wave. So I let go, come what may. But all this time I'm hoping for a sunny day. So I'll just float till the current slows. Was this by design? Am I just killing time until I'm getting carried away, riding on the back of a wave? So I let go, come what may. But all this time I'm hoping for a sunny day. Feeling stuck, waiting on help to come, but maybe I could swim and start to dry my skin until I'm getting carried away, riding on the back of a wave. So I let go, come what may. But all this time I'm hoping for a sunny day, getting carried away, riding on the back of a wave. So I let go, come what may. But all this time I'm hoping for a sunny day.
I'm a little concerned. Well, it's a legal prisoner, it looks like.
Look at this work.
Yeah.
Look at your new workbench. This is nice.
Yeah, that's gonna have to go.
That's gonna have to go.
The workbench.
Let me see.
Welcome to the future home of the project. Now, it's gonna be a while before I'm out here. Of course, I'm gonna get as much done at home as I can, but eventually both the fuselage and the wings and the rest of the parts will be out here, and I'll be assembling 485 Romeo whiskey. Not today, however. I have a lot more to do back at the garage, so let's get back to the house. And now there's some space. Along with getting the wings out, I have also spent a considerable amount of time getting ready for what will be the next phase of the build. I cleaned. I spent basically the rest of the day here cleaning. And don't get me wrong, it's still a mess. There's a lot of chaos in here, but there's a little more order to it. Now, because I'm basically a child, but I went ahead and exhibited a modicum of adult-like responsibility in this whole cleaning adventure, I feel like I've earned a reward. I've had this box sitting over here for a long time. I have, for just as long, wanted to tear into it, but I haven't had the space, and I didn't feel it was appropriate. I do now. Now, in all seriousness, there is another reason I wanted to open this, and that is I want to get the governor out, which is packaged with the prop. The governor will be one of the first things I attach to the engine, which, if y'all remember, how could you forget, should be here in only 4 days. Well, unfortunately, I do have to exhibit a little bit of self-restraint. I want to keep it at least this much in the box so I can move it around, and if needed, I can put the top back on and lean it back up against the wall. It is a beautiful prop. I got the governor out, which is good. I got to set sights on it. It is going to look fantastic on the plane. For those of you who are curious, this is a Whirlwind 3-blade 330 series propeller. I went with the 330 series. It was required by some of the specifications on my engine, and it all relates to counterweighted or not counterweighted crankshaft and a few other things, high compression, low compression, that sort of stuff. The folks at Whirlwind, as well as the folks at Continental, were an extreme help in ensuring that the prop would mate to the engine without issue. I can't thank enough either of those organizations. I had really no idea what I was doing when I went prop shopping, other than I wanted constant speed and 3 blades. This thing strikes me as a fantastic piece of machinery. Now, I don't believe they're one of the more expensive governors on the market, but it still looks very precise. Beyond that, I honestly don't know much what I'm looking at, but by the way it was sealed up, I kind of regret opening it. I'm gonna wrap it back up, throw it in a Ziploc, not touch much until I figure out heads or tails what we're looking at here. Three days. Yeah, I don't have a lot going on today. All right, 2 days. 2 days till new engine day here, and I got some stuff to pick up. Just 1 day until new engine day, and I'm getting exhausted. I don't really have anything that needs to be done before the engine gets here. I will be able to get it placed and sort of step right into it. Everything that you've seen here likely could have waited, but it's nice to have out of the way. And in that spirit, I have gotten a few other things completed. I got another push-pull cable in recently. Actually, I found one in my firewall forward stuff. And so I went ahead and installed it and got my heater set up, which is exciting. And I've slowly been organizing the garage, trying to bring forth all of the components I'm going to need. And I don't have them all. So along with the engine, I'm going to have a bunch of boxes arriving at just about the same time, all of them filled with other components that I have yet to purchase. We'll be going through these one by one, as I typically do, once we start to install the engine in front of this. I am incredibly excited about what tomorrow brings. A little nervous, but mainly excited. And I cannot wait to get that crate in here and take a peek inside. New engine day is here. It is D-Day, it's delivery day, at least I hope it is. There's always a potential for delays, especially on this project, but I have faith that it'll be here soonish. If that doesn't sound like a lot of faith, well, there never is a lot of faith when it comes to shipping providers, I don't believe. I'm gonna handle a few things to keep myself busy and from going nuts, but hopefully soon we'll be unloading a crate. Honestly, new engine day is a little slower than I thought it would be. I mean, I kind of figured there would be some waiting, but the waiting is pretty tough. Hopefully we hear from the freight company soon and I'll be unloading an engine. Until then, I should probably find something a little more productive to keep myself busy. Ned is delayed. I just got word from FedEx Freight. They're running just moments behind. The crate didn't hit the dock in time to get it on a truck, and with how everything runs over there, that means we've lost a day. So I'm gonna try to set things down for a day and come back at it tomorrow, focus on other things so that hopefully when the crate finally gets here, it's got my undivided attention. I'm going to try to keep my mind off it until tomorrow. Hopefully tomorrow we see an engine. New engine day +1. Once again, I'm waiting and checking and waiting and checking. I don't have a lot of faith that today's the day. The FedEx tracking is all wonky, and according to the website, my crate is still sitting at the dock. Now I have called, they've assured me that's not the case, but again, the guy I talked to on the other end of the line, I felt like he should be working at like a reptile store or something like that. Sorry if that offends large swaths of my audience that currently own or manage reptile stores, but it just didn't feel like I was working with the top brass. Just about every other delivery guy has been here. I've been opening boxes all morning of things that I've ordered both recently and long ago in anticipation of hanging this engine. We'll take a look at some of these pieces lying around while I wait for my engine. It's pretty funny that I ordered the exhaust like 8 or 10 weeks ago, the engine much longer ago than that, and potentially they're going to arrive on the same day. This is the Vetterman exhaust. I don't really know exactly what I'm looking at. I did order a crossover exhaust, but it's specifically made for my engine and my setup, a Titan engine with a superior cold air induction. Craftsmanship looks fantastic at first glance. Now, I'm told that there will be some areas of tight clearance at the bottom of this. It'll be interesting to see how this fits alongside all of the components that need to run very near these pipes. In addition to the exhaust itself, I also have a heat muff here to allow some cabin heat for those chilly days. So one of the things that I purchased is this cute little guy right here. This is a Hall effect sensor. This is going to allow me to know how much current is flowing through a wire. Now, I have a shunt on my firewall, and it does the same thing, though in a little different method. And it's after essentially some of the same information. This shunt on the firewall is going to show me how much power I'm producing. The difference is the Hall effect sensor mounted on the inside of the plane near the main bus is going to show me how much power I'm using. This is yet another data point, and I felt like a pretty important one so that I can compare those two values. Or let's say my alternator goes and I'm not producing any power, I can see how much I'm using and how much I can load shed, allowing me to take more time to find a suitable airport to get to the ground. Now, my original wiring diagram did not account for the sensor, and to be honest, there's always been this hole in my understanding of the system and me going, why don't I know this? Why don't I have something to show me this information? It feels valuable. I called up the folks at Garmin, the Experimental Aviation Helpline, and they were a great sounding board as I sort of talked through why I thought I need one of these. And indeed, he said, yeah, it's very, very common. There's even outlines in your installation manual that show you how to install one of those and a little bit of why. Now that I'm pointed in the right direction, I'm gonna go ahead and take a few moments to see if I can get this in the plane. And that's as easy as it is to set up. That's incredible. I love that. Now, when I'm running off of the backup battery, I can see we went from 10 amps to 2 amps, a sizable reduction, which if I still had my main battery would mean hours of operation. And even on my backup battery, which is a 3 amp hour backup battery, that means I got an hour and a half of operation there. Which, just that calculation alone shows how valuable this is. This is great information to have. Now, when everything's hooked up and I start running pitot heat and landing lights, we'll probably see much closer to 20 amps or more. But then again, if I had an alternator failure, I'd be able to shut these pieces down one by one, deciding what's most critical, and then see how that's affecting my power consumption real time. I live in the Pacific Northwest, the land of salmon, and I bought salmon jerky from Hawaii. I basically paid to give my fish a Hawaiian vacation. I just got the call. He's on his way here. Turns out today is in fact new engine day. I knew FedEx was on it. I had no doubts. Just to pull forward that way and then back in.
probably wouldn't go over too well.
Yeah.
You just say when.
Right there is great.
Okay.
We did it! At long last, it's here. This is truly exciting. One of the last big, exciting deliveries of this project. Now, unfortunately, we're out of time. So if you want to see what's in this box, I'm just kidding. Come on, let's dig in. A few details about the engine. Now, in the coming episodes, over the course of several weeks or months, I'm going to provide every detail that I know and learn about this thing. But to get us going, I want to give you some top-line facts and specifications about the engine I chose. So what I wound up going with for my plane is the Continental Titan, which is their experimental line, fuel-injected 370 or 370 cubic inch, of course, 4-cylinder engine. The fuel injection is provided by Airflow Performance on this one. I have a superior cold air sump underneath, a horizontal induction. Ignition is provided by 2 PMags, and my compression ratio is a slightly lower 8.3 to 1. I felt that lower compression is going to provide a few more options as we start to navigate and transition away from leaded fuels in aviation. Now, the paint chosen by me, we've got silver on the crankcase, black for the cylinder heads. Continental does allow you several different color choices and combinations that you can make. This is, I think, going to complement my chosen paint scheme very well. Now, to be honest, I don't know where to begin. There are some things that I want to take care of while it's down here on the ground, but not very many. We're gonna get it mounted to the plane fairly quickly here. All of that, of course, coming up in future episodes. I've gone on way too long on this one, and it is Friday afternoon, and I haven't even started to edit this. So it's gonna be a late night in order to get this to you by tomorrow. I am excited though, I can't wait. If you wanna see all about mounting this to the airplane, installing it in the final phases before my airplane takes flight, be sure to follow, be sure to subscribe, and go ahead and give me a thumbs up while you're at it. We'll see you next time on Ryan Flies.